There are countless editing styles on social media, but only two of them dominate the video editing industry. Let's leave the magnates media for another time, and let's deal with this Iman's unique editing style, which is one of the worst nightmares for video editors. So today, I'm going to recreate this advanced animation from the latest Iman's video, and also provide you with project files so that you could learn from scratch. So, without opening the description box and hurting the audience retention, let's get started. I will make a 1920 by 1080 composition with 60 frames per second. Initially, start by making a rectangle. Center the anchor point and align it in the center of the composition. Now, disable the stroke of this rectangle and choose a dark gray color for this rectangle. And setting its roundness to around 50. So I will select the layer and search roundness and increase it to 50 to make rounded corners. Now duplicate it, and then disable the fill and turn on the stroke. Make it light yellow to match the Iman's animation. Now, duplicate the stroke layer and make a rough mask by clicking G on the keyboard. Select this button to make a mask on shape layers, otherwise it will start making shapes again. Now, we will make a mask something like that, and apply the deep glow on this layer to get the highlighting effect at the top of the rectangle. Now, if you zoom in, then you can see these hard edges, and to fix it, we will feather out the mask so that it blends to the original. So, we will click M 2 times while selecting the mask layer, and feather the mask until it feels natural. Now we will add this dotted line. So, I will make a stroked rectangle and increase its roundness to 25. Add dashed line by searching dash while selecting the layer, and press this plus button to add this and adjust the dash to get a result like this. Next, press G on the keyboard and make a mask on this shape layer like this. Now, we will add both of these texts. So, I will type value and change its font to Engraver's Gothic and align it at the top of this line. Now, I will duplicate it and align it here and change its text. Next, I will duplicate it again and align it here and type portfolio value and increase its scale to make it large. Now, it's time to make this counting number animation, which is very common in Iman's video. You can do it by using expressions and slider control, which can be very time-consuming and tedious to do, but to make this tutorial fast and easy for everyone, I have some free presets. So, install it on your After Effects. The link is in the description, and it's completely free. Don't download it now, because 90% of editors save all the tutorials to watch later and never watch them, and I am one of them too. So now, we will duplicate this text and place it at the bottom of it. Go to the Effects and Presets, and you can see this simple counter preset, which is provided in the description box. So, I'm going to apply this comma preset with a $sign as a prefix. And now, I will change its font to Montserrat and align it again. Now press U and make the keyframes to make counting numbers and drag these keyframes to 6 seconds to copy the original animation. Pretty easy, right? Now we will make a rectangle and round its corners. Duplicate any text. Now go here in the percentage preset, drop the first preset, and then animate it just like before. Align it in the center, and place it on top of this rounded rectangle so that it becomes visible. Now download any AIM PNG from Flat Icon and drop it here. Make an ellipse and align it at the bottom, something like this. Not much of a big deal, just a waste of time. This shape layer is touching the dotted line, so I will move it up to make space between them. You can notice that the percentage counter text is not staying in the center of the rectangle while increasing. So for this reason, I will select the text and open paragraph panel and select this and it will do the job. Now let's start making these spherical balls. So we will draw an ellipse while holding Shift to make a perfect circle. Now apply the gradient overlay from the layer style so that we don't have to adjust the ramp when we duplicate this layer and make more balls in the future. So I will open the gradient overlay and edit gradient to something like this. Next, I will apply deep glow and adjust its intensity like this. Now we will start duplicating the ball and align it to something like this. Now we will center its anchor point and make a scale keyframe. Drag it here, then change it to 0 so that it scales up in 20 frames forward in the timeline, and make any easing on the keyframe. Offset 5 to 10 frames so that it doesn't reveal all of them at the same time. Now we will duplicate the text and type these 3 words, aligning them at the top of each ball like this. Now, if you notice in the original animation, then you can analyze that their editor used the typewriter preset. So we will also apply the typewriter preset on these 3 texts and the portfolio value text. Press U to reveal the keyframes and align them like this. Now let's make this line animation. So we will grab the pen tool, disable its fill, and set its color to something like orange. Start making the smoothest curve in the history of editing. Now add trim paths. So we will open trim paths and animate the end property. Add an end keyframe and drag it to around 6 seconds. Now change it to 0% at the start. Next, we will make a sharp pointing in this line. So we will search for taper, open this property, and play with these values to get a pointing head like this. Let's crack these balls. So I will press Ctrl plus Shift plus D to cut this ball layer. This is important and you will know why in just a moment. Press G on the keyboard to grab the pen tool and press this button to draw a mask on the shape layer. Now make a rough mask like this. After this, duplicate the layer and press M on the keyboard. Now invert the mask so that it seems like we have done nothing. Now select these 2 ball layers and then press P to bring position property and add position keyframes. While keyframing, use some physics to make this slightly move to the right so it seems like the line has actually hit the ball and it's moving in the right direction. Apply easing. Drag these keyframes to where the line is about to touch the ball. Now you have to do this for all the balls. And now we are here. Next, we are adding this health dropping effect. So I will open the gradient overlay from the layer style, which we added in the beginning. Click on this icon to add a keyframe. Now go some frames forward in the timeline and then click on Edit Gradient. Change the gradient to red and click OK. Move forward again in the timeline and copy and paste the first keyframe. Now, let's work smart. Select all the 3 keyframes and start pasting them on every layer. Make sure to go to that frame when the line is about to touch the ball so that we don't have to adjust the keyframes again, okay? And now, we get this. Now take a deep breath because you've learned a lot of new things so far. Now we are going to make this shatter particles effect. So let's draw a small circle and put it at the bottom of this layer so that it remains hidden until the ball cracks. Center the small circle under the cracked circle. Now we will solo these 2 layers so we can focus better. So I will apply the shatter effect on the small sphere and change the view to rendered. Open the shape and select the pattern to glass. Now change the repetition to 200 so that it shatters into 200 pieces. If your system is not powerful enough, I suggest keeping it at 50 to 100 depending on your specifications. Now open the Force 1 property and change its strength to 1. You don't have to mess with Force 2 because it is already disabled, okay? Next, open the Physics property and change the gravity to 0. Otherwise, the glass pieces will drop, and we don't need that. You'll notice that it is breaking in the wrong direction, which is against the laws of physics. So, we will go to Force 1. Select this point, and click here to change the force point to this spot. Now, the glass pieces are moving in the correct direction. Now, animate the opacity from 100 to 0 so that the glass pieces fade out over time. Place this layer where the line is about to touch the cracked ball. Duplicate it and align it for the other 2 cracked balls. Now listen to this. You have to change this point again. Otherwise, it will not work. This happens because this point property is applied to the composition and not moving at all when we are moving the glass pieces. Now take a deep breath of air because we are coming to the last and very important section, camera animation. Okay, select all the layers and pre-compose them by clicking Ctrl plus Shift plus C. Click here to move all attributes into the new composition. Next, we will create a camera by right-clicking, then New, and selecting Camera. I'm using the 50mm preset. Now hit OK. Now we will make our animation 3D because the camera only works for 3D layers. Create a null object and parent the camera to the null object. If you can't see the parent option, click F4 on the keyboard. Now make the null object 3D. We will animate the Z position of the camera with the help of the null object. So I will select the null object, press P to bring up position, and decrease the Z position to match the original animation. Next, I will move forward in the timeline and increase the Z position like this. Now we will apply easing to the keyframes to get this result. Next, we will add the camera blur. So, we will open the camera options and turn on the depth of field. Now animate the aperture to get that blur effect at the start of the animation. I will increase it to around 750, and then move a couple of frames forward and change it to around 1400. Now we will cut the camera and null to change the scene. Before this, drag the position keyframe forward in the timeline so that the movement doesn't stop at the end of the first scene, okay? Now we will create another camera, parent a new null to it, and make it 3D. Select the null object, press P to bring up position, and increase the Z amount to get something like this. Make a keyframe here. Then go to the end of the keyframe and adjust the X and Y position to fit the third cracked ball in the center. Now our camera part is done. Now we have to add some camera shake when the line touches the cracked ball. Select the animation layer and press P to bring up the position property. Make a keyframe on position and move 1 frame ahead in the timeline. Slightly change its position and do this for a few more frames. Now, if we play this, we get this nice shake effect. If you're too lazy to do this, I've made a preset. The download link is in the description. Now add an adjustment layer and apply the CC vignette effect to it. Change its amount to 250 and angle of view to 50. This will force the viewers to look at the center of the video. I think I should add deep glow on this graph line. So I will go inside the animation pre-comp, apply deep glow, and adjust its intensity so it doesn't blind the viewers. So this is how we created this animation. I know it's not 100% accurate, but it looks kind of the same. I hope you learned something new. Let me know. Should I make more tutorials like this or not? And if you want to make viral subtitles like Houston Cold and Bart VFX in no time, then watch this video.